My name is Susan, and 2 days before my wedding, my entire world collapsed. That morning, I woke up believing I was the luckiest woman alive. In just 48 hours, I was supposed to walk down the aisle and marry Stephen, the man I had loved for 2 years. Our wedding was going to be perfect: grand hall, hundreds of guests, expensive flowers, and a dress that made me feel like a dream come true. My wedding dress hung near the window, glowing softly in the sunlight. I remember touching the fabric and whispering to myself, "This is it. This is the beginning of my forever." Stephen had promised to pick up the dress from the tailor himself. "I'll handle it," he'd said with a smile. "You just relax." I trusted him. Love makes you blind like that, but something felt off that day. A strange uneasiness sat in my chest, refusing to leave. I told myself it was just pre-wedding nerves. Still, I grabbed my keys and decided to pick up the dress myself. Just to see it one more time, I didn't know I was walking straight into a nightmare. When I reached Stephen's apartment, the door wasn't fully closed. I heard laughter, soft, familiar laughter. My heart skipped, but I forced myself to stay calm. Maybe he had a friend over. Maybe I was overthinking. I pushed the door open, and my life shattered. There was Stephen. His shirt was off, his pants half undone, and standing right in front of him, wearing my wedding dress, was my best friend. For a second, my mind refused to understand what my eyes were seeing. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. The room spun, and my ears rang. She turned around slowly, her face pale. Stephen froze like a child caught stealing. This isn't what it looks like," he stammered. I felt a laugh escape my lips. Cold, broken, empty. "Oh, really?" I said quietly. "So tell me, did your pants accidentally fall down? And did my friend accidentally fall on you too?" Silence. That silence hurt more than any words ever could. I ripped the dress off her hands. The same dress I had dreamed about. The same dress I had imagined wearing while walking toward my future. My hands were shaking as I held it, and suddenly it felt heavy, like it carried all my broken trust inside it. I ran, but I don't remember how I got outside. I don't remember the stairs or the street. I only remember the pain ripping through my chest and the tears blurring everything around me. Behind me, Stephen shouted, "Susan, wait." I turned around. 2 days, I said, my voice trembling. 2 days before our wedding. He tried to grab my arm, but I stepped back. "What you've done," I said, "there's no fixing it." That's when he got angry. "You're overreacting," he snapped. "Do you know how much money our parents have spent on this wedding? You think we can just cancel everything?" I stared at him in disbelief. "So money matters more than me?" I asked. My phone buzzed. A reminder popped up on the screen. "In 2 days, you will become a wife." I laughed bitterly and turned the screen toward him. "I will not marry a cheater," I said firmly. That's when his voice turned cold. "If you walk away," he warned, "your parents won't support you. You'll have nothing." I realized something in that moment. I had already lost everything. My fiancé, my best friend, my trust, and somehow I was still standing. I walked away without looking back, holding my wedding dress like a reminder of everything that had died inside me that day. I didn't know where I would go. I didn't know what I would do. All I knew was this: I would rather marry a stranger than spend one more second tied to a man who betrayed me. And that decision, made in pain and desperation, was only the beginning of my story. I don't remember how long I walked after leaving Stephen's apartment. My legs moved on their own while my mind replayed the same scene again and again. My wedding dress, my best friend, the man I trusted, all tangled together in betrayal. The streets felt louder than usual. Cars passed, people laughed. Life moved forward as if nothing had happened. And there I was, holding my ruined future in my arms. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Stephen, my parents, even my so-called friend. I ignored every call. I couldn't hear their voices. Not yet. Maybe not ever, that I sat down on a bench near City Hall, staring at the building across the street. I don't know why my feet brought me there. Maybe fate was already laughing at me. Maybe I just needed a place where decisions could be made quickly, before fear caught up with me. That's when I saw him. He was standing a few steps away, struggling with a couple of heavy boxes. He looked tired but calm, like someone who had faced life and learned how to survive it. When one of the boxes almost fell, I instinctively stood up. "Careful," I said. He smiled. A simple, warm smile. "Thanks," he replied. "These things have a mind of their own." We talked for a few minutes, nothing deep. Just polite words between two strangers. But then my phone buzzed again, and anger rushed through me like fire. I looked at him and heard myself say words I hadn't planned. "Are you married?" He blinked, clearly surprised. "No," he said. "Single. No kids." I swallowed hard. "Would you like to make $100,000? Now he really stared at me. "Who wouldn't?" he said cautiously. "My name is Susan," I said. "And here's the deal. You marry me today, and I transfer the money to your bank account tonight." Silence. He studied my face, probably looking for signs that I was crazy. Maybe I was. But I was done being scared. "I'm not asking for love," I added quickly. "Just a signature. 20 minutes. City Hall. That's it." He exhaled slowly. "My name is Ajit," he said. "And I think we should talk about this inside." Before we could move, I felt a hand grab my arm. "Susan." "Stephen." He looked furious. His eyes weren't filled with regret. They were filled with control. "Let go of her," Ajit said firmly, stepping between us. Stephen laughed mockingly. "Who are you supposed to be?" "My future husband," Ajit replied without hesitation. I stared at him, shocked by his confidence. Stephen's face darkened. "You think you can just take her away?" he sneered. "She won't get away from me that easily." But for the first time since everything happened, I didn't feel weak. Ajit looked at me. "Are you okay?" I nodded. That was enough for him. IT took 2 cheap plastic rings and 20 minutes at City Hall for me to officially become someone's wife. As I signed the papers, my hands trembled. Part of me hoped this would somehow cancel the wedding with Stephen. Another part of me was terrified of what I had just done. When we stepped outside, reality hit me. "What have I done?" I whispered. Ajit looked at me gently. "Susan, if you're doing this because you're hurt, we don't have to." "No," I interrupted. "You misunderstand. I just need help getting away." He nodded. No questions. No judgment. We hadn't even made it far when my parents' car pulled up, and my mother jumped out, her face pale. "Susan, what are you doing?" "I'm married," I said quietly. My father's expression changed instantly. "To him," he demanded, pointing at Ajit. "That man is dangerous. He attacked Stephen." Stephen stepped forward dramatically. "He tried to hurt me," he said. "He's violent." Ajit remained calm. "I defended her," he said simply. "And I'll do it again if needed." My mother sighed. "Honey, we understand you're angry, but this marriage has to be canceled." "No," I said. "It doesn't." My father's voice hardened. "We've spent too much money. Invitations are sent. Guests are coming. You will marry Stephen." What about my feelings? I cried. He didn't hesitate. If you walk away, your credit cards will be blocked. Your account's frozen. You'll have nothing. That's when I realized I wasn't choosing between two men. I was choosing between fear and freedom that I took Ajit's hand. Let's go, I said. And just like that, I walked away from everything I had ever known into a future I couldn't see with a man I had met only hours before. Just that morning, I had been a bride planning the most beautiful wedding in town. By evening, I was sitting on a bench beside a road, holding a small bag, married to a man I barely knew and unsure where I would sleep that night. Fear wrapped itself around my chest. My parents had cut me off. My phone was silent. My old life was gone. Ajit noticed my shaking hands. "You don't have to pretend to be strong," he said softly. "We'll figure something out." Those words hit me harder than I expected. No one had said we to me all day. We walked for a while until we reached a quiet industrial area near the docks. Stacks of wooden crates stood near a warehouse, glowing softly under yellow streetlights. Ajit stopped inside. "I'm really sorry," he said. "I work here loading crates. It's not much, but it's honest." I laughed weakly. "At least you're honest," I said. "That already makes you better than most men I know." He smiled, then looked at the crates. "If we unload some of these recyclable ones," he said, half joking, "we might earn enough for a cheap hotel. Maybe even breakfast." For the first time that day, I smiled for real. "You're right," I said. "Let's do it." I reached for one of the crates, but Ajit immediately stopped me. "I'm not letting my wife carry heavy things," he said firmly.
Seat.
"Relax. I've got this." My wife. The words felt strange, but comforting. I sat down among the crates, watching him work. His movements were calm and steady, like someone used to responsibility. Sweat rolled down his forehead, but he didn't complain once. As I watched him, something inside me shifted. He wasn't rich. He wasn't polished, but he was kind. And after what I'd been through, kindness felt like luxury. He came back holding a small, perfectly shaped crystal stone that had fallen from one of the crates. "Look at this," he said, handing it to me. "It's rare to find one this clean." I turned it in my hands. It sparkled under the light. "It's beautiful," I said. "It's unique," he replied, looking at me instead of the stone. "Just like you." My heart skipped. I quickly looked away, afraid of what I was starting to feel. "Don't be stupid, Susan," I told myself. "You just escaped betrayal. Don't fall again later." After we earned enough money for a small hotel room, Ajit suddenly grew quiet. "I need to go somewhere," he said. "I'll be back soon." Something in his voice made me nervous. "How soon?" I asked. "Soon," he repeated. "I promise." He left. Minutes turned into hours. The hotel room felt colder with every second. My mind filled with fear. What if he left too? What if I was foolish to trust another man so quickly? Just as tears filled my eyes, I heard a familiar voice. "Well, look at you," Stephen sneered from the doorway. "Living like this already?" My stomach dropped. He stepped inside like he owned the place. "How long have you been waiting for him?" he asked. "Face it, Susan. He ran away." "That's not true," I said, though my voice shook. "You're meant to be with me," he said softly, stepping closer. "Only with me can you be safe." I backed away. "Come home," he insisted. "You don't belong here, surrounded by crates and strangers." That's when I remembered Ajit's words. "You've moved toward freedom. Now is not the time to stop." "I'm not going anywhere with you," I said firmly. Stephen grabbed my arm. "Let go of my wife." Ajit's voice cut through the room like thunder, and I turned around, shocked. Ajit stood there, breathing heavily, holding a small box. "I thought you left," I whispered. "Never," he said. "Not without you." Stephen laughed bitterly. "What's in the box? Another lie?" Ajit opened it. Inside was the most beautiful diamond ring I had ever seen. "I couldn't find the right one at first," he said, looking only at me. "My wife deserves the best." Stephen accused him of stealing it, but Ajit calmly explained everything: how he owned a small dessert cafe, how he had been delivering crates earlier, how he believed in taking care of his wife, no matter what. Stephen left, defeated and furious. As Ajit slipped the ring onto my finger, tears streamed down my face. In that moment, I realized something powerful. Only true love gives you strength. And only real love gives you freedom. After the chaos with Stephen, I thought the worst was over. But reality hit me the moment we stepped out of that warehouse district. My parents were waiting, their faces pale and tight with worry and anger. "Susan," my mother exclaimed, rushing toward me. "What are you doing? Where have you been?" I swallowed hard. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt nervous about standing up, not to strangers, but to my own family. I married Ajit," I said softly, holding his hand. My father froze, his face turning a shade I had never seen before. "Married?" To him, he spat. "Susan, what is going on? How could you do this without telling us?" I felt Ajit squeeze my hand gently, grounding me. His calmness gave me courage. "I married him," I repeated, "because I had no choice with Stephen. And because Ajit is honest, kind, and he cares about me. I trust him. I want to be with him." My mother's lips trembled, and tears pooled in her eyes. "Susan, you're so young. You can't just marry someone like this." I took a deep breath. "Mom, I'm done being controlled. I'm done being a pawn in Stephen's game. He betrayed me. He doesn't respect me. And I won't let him dictate my life or my happiness anymore." My father's hands clenched into fists. "But everything, our savings, the wedding plans, the invitations. Do you realize how much has been invested in Stephen?" "Yes," I said quietly. "Ida. And I'm sorry about that. But happiness is not measured in money. It's measured in respect, love, and trust. And I don't have any of that with Stephen." Ajit stepped forward. "Sir, ma'am, I understand this is sudden. I'm not wealthy, and I don't have a fancy background. But I promise you I will take care of Susan always. I will never betray her, never lie to her, never hurt her." I watched my parents' faces. They were torn between anger, disbelief, and worry for my safety. But slowly, they began to see something they hadn't expected: Ajit's sincerity. "You're just a stranger," my father said, still hesitant. "I may be a stranger to you," Ajit admitted. "But I'm not a stranger to Susan's heart. And I will spend the rest of my life earning your trust." I felt my chest swell with pride and relief. For the first time that day, I smiled. Not the fake smile I had worn for Stephen, but a real one. Hopeful, honest, and free. And my mother took a deep breath. "Susan, if this is truly what you want, then we'll have to accept it. But this doesn't mean it will be easy." I nodded. "I know it won't be. But it will be worth it. Ajit and we will make it work. Together." Then my father spoke again, softer this time. "You've always been strong, Susan. Maybe we underestimated that strength." I could feel the tension in the air begin to ease. The weight of guilt and shame that had hung over me since Stephen's betrayal started to lift. Ajit looked at me with a quiet smile. "See," he whispered, "it's going to be okay." I leaned into him slightly, feeling a warmth I hadn't known I deserved. I realized that marriage isn't just about fancy dresses, invitations, or money. It's about trust, respect, and being with someone who makes you feel safe, valued, and seen. That night, as we sat together quietly after my parents left, I thought about how drastically my life had changed in just 24 hours. I had escaped betrayal, found someone who truly cared, and taken the first steps toward a future that I could actually look forward to. "I don't even know where we'll stay tonight," I admitted softly. Ajit smiled. "We'll figure it out. No matter what, I've got you." And in that moment I realized he meant it. Not because he had to, not because it was convenient, but because he genuinely wanted to. For the first time in my life, I felt hope. Not the fragile hope I had clung to with Stephen, but the steady, quiet, unwavering hope that comes from knowing you are truly safe, loved, and free. The betrayal had shattered me, but the unexpected kindness of a stranger was building me back up stronger than ever, and for the first time in days, I finally believed in the word happily, not just in fairy tales, but in my own messy, imperfect, and wonderfully real life. The next morning, sunlight poured through the small hotel window, warming the room in soft golden light. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the diamond ring on my finger, thinking about the whirlwind of the last 48 hours. 2 days ago, I had been ready to marry a man who betrayed me. 2 days later, I was married to a man I barely knew, but for the first time in years, I felt safe. I felt seen. I felt free. Ajit stirred beside me, still half asleep. When he noticed my gaze, he smiled softly. "Morning," he whispered. "Morning," I replied, my voice trembling slightly. He reached over and took my hand, holding it gently. "How are you feeling?" he asked. I exhaled deeply. Confused, but in a good way. I never thought I could feel this kind of calm after everything that happened. He squeezed my hand. "You've been through a lot, but now we move forward. Together." I watched him as he got up to make some coffee. I noticed the small details, how he moved carefully around the crates, how he smiled even when tired, how he always put me first. Each little thing made my heart swell in a way I hadn't experienced before. After breakfast, we stepped outside into the crisp morning air. I looked around the street, the crates, the small dockside warehouse, and suddenly I realized something profound. Life had given me a second chance, not a perfect one, but a real one. And I was determined to make it count. Ajit noticed my quiet reflection. "What's on your mind?" he asked. I smiled faintly. I was thinking that I could have ended up anywhere. I could have stayed with Stephen, lived a life filled with wealth, but no trust, no love, no freedom. And instead, I'm here, with you. And somehow, it feels right. He walked closer and held both my hands. "Susan, I know this is all sudden. I know you barely know me, but I promise you, I will spend every day proving that marrying me was the right choice." I swallowed hard, tears welling up. "Ajit, I already believe that. I can't explain it, but I trust you. Completely." He pulled me into a gentle embrace. I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt grounded. Not afraid, not betrayed, not alone. Over the next few days, we found our rhythm. Ajit helped me carry the crates to a small local market, laughing whenever I tried to pick up something heavy. We cooked together in a tiny rented kitchen, making simple meals but savoring them as if they were feasts. We explored the streets, discovered little cafes, and shared stories about our pasts. I realized that love wasn't about grand gestures or perfect plans. It wasn't about the sparkling dresses, expensive venues, or social expectations. Love was about trust, respect, kindness, and the courage to start over, no matter how broken you felt. Point one evening, as we sat by the docks watching the sunset, Ajit handed me the small crystal stone he had found among the crates on our first day. It sparkled like the sun dipping below the horizon. "This is for you," he said. A reminder that beauty can be found even in unexpected places, and that even after the hardest days, something precious can emerge. I turned it over in my hands, smiling. "It's perfect, just like you." He leaned in, and our lips met softly. Not rushed, not desperate, just a quiet promise that we would face the future together, no matter what. In that moment, I understood fully what had been missing in my life before Stephen's betrayal. A partner who would protect me, who would value me, who would make me feel safe, and who would laugh with me even in the middle of chaos. Stephen and my old life became distant memories, shadows that no longer held power over me. I had chosen freedom, love, and trust. And I had found it in the most unexpected way, with a stranger who became my husband. As night fell, I lay awake next to Ajit, feeling the steady rise and fall of his chest. I whispered softly to myself, "I am free, I am loved, and I am exactly where I am meant to be." True love had given me strength, it had given me freedom, and it had given me a new beginning, one I would never take for granted.